everybody, and it is time for another TBR card update. So it is the beginning of another trimester, let's say, so also the middle point of the month of the year in this point in time, and it's time to take stock of what is left on the card. I'm first going to go over the ebooks just so that I don't forget about them. At this point in time there are 15 books, 14, 15? Let me actually check what I'm talking about. 15, I believe. I was hoping to get back to like the status quo because before the start of the month of June it was at 14, but unfortunately we have made it back to 15. But that should be the count, right? 15. So there are 15 books on the card, like 12 on the card, 3 ebooks that are currently counting for the TBR. And yeah, let's just get cracking. In terms of ebooks, the oldest one is The Sunlit Man by Brandon Sanderson. So this is the fourth and final of the secret novellas that came out last year. So it came out on the 1st of October. I don't know more about it. This is the final Brandon Sanderson on this card. At the beginning of June I had 3 Brandon Sandersons on there, so very happy to have just one left, and I've also had good experiences with the reads I had for Brandon Sanderson in June, so hopefully The Sunlit Man will be another one that I have really good experience with. The other ebook is The Ruins of Smoke by João F. Silva. This is a prequel to the Seeds of War, which was sort of grimdark fantasy, I want to say. I did quite enjoy it, though grimdark isn't really my preference, but I will definitely still read that prequel and then kind of make up my mind whether I want to continue or not. But there definitely were a lot of things that definitely I enjoyed or that intrigued me about the series, so if I have a good experience with the prequel I'll probably continue. And then the final ebook that's currently on there is Kushiel's Mercy by Jacqueline Carey. I am reading that, I am 10% into that, and that is a fantasy book. It's third in the second trilogy in the Kushiel universe, and so then I can go into the first book of the next trilogy. And I will say I'm kind of cheating there because I do have the ebooks for that next trilogy on my e-reader, but the only real reason why I bought those was because they were like on sale. They were only €4. I'm not entirely sure whether that was just temporary or not, because I do think that they're still at that price. And so I was like, oh, let me just get them now because I know that I will be reading these books at some point in time, so I might as well buy them now that they are cheap. But I didn't really I don't have the intention of immediately going into them. I'm spreading those out, so I'm not really counting them, which is somewhat of a cheat, I guess. But you know, I also didn't feel like I needed to stick to these rules so thoroughly to really not buy them now just to be able to get to TBR 0. I'm fine with just them being there. I know that I'll get around to them at some point in time, and that I would have gotten them regardless. And so that is it for the ebooks that are currently on there. The rest is all that is here. Let me go through layer number 2 first, the layer that you are barely seeing. Those are the most recent acquisitions, with one exception, because this is the book that I'm currently reading that I just put there because it was easier, and that is The Oleander Sword by Tasha Suri. So this is a fantasy second book in a series. I am currently reading it. I'm not entirely enjoying it, so might actually even end up DNFing it, but I have 200 pages, a little bit over 200 pages to go in this one, and so I probably will be reading chunks of it throughout the month of July, and so I'll be spreading it out, so it might not be it might be easier that way to kind of keep my attention on it, because I do feel like my attention wanders very much with this one. I have it on audiobook, and I'm not really focused in on it too much, and so I probably, depending on what happens with this book, might decide to DNF this series in the end. Next up we have a book that I bought in a library sale, and that is My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Outtro. This is the Dutch edition for it. This is a literary fiction and sort of weird, weird woman literature, or whatever we want to call it. I've been intrigued by Outtro in general, but this book as well, and so I do, as it was €1 to pick it up, I was like, yeah, okay, let's extend the TBR Zero project a little bit longer just to put this one on there. And then probably another one that I got there, which is it on my shelf? Yeah, it is. So in that same library sale, also for €1, I got Timeline by Michael Crichton. I am on the fence about Michael Crichton. He wouldn't be worth extending my TBR Zero project for if it weren't for the fact that this is just like €1. And so we'll see whether this one is another success or not. But you know, Michael Crichton is an author that I've had great success with, but also real disappointments. And his last book by him that I read was like a climate change denial book. So that definitely was one that was not a great time for me. Then we have 2 graphic novels that I'm going to be trying to slot into the month of July. We have The Fox Maidens by Robin Ha, and I don't really know much about the story except for I got it in Gaze the Word, so it is a queer romance, well, a queer story. And then the other one, which is also queer because I also got it in Gaze the Word, is Alone in Space by Tilly Walden. This is a collection of their sort of like comics, and you know, I'm eager to see it. This one was recommended by the bookseller, so this is the reason why I picked this one up. But yeah, because it is a graphic novel, I was like, yeah, I might as well pick it up. I want to support Gaze the Word a little bit more, and you know, this is not going to take me very long, so it is okay to add it to the TBR at this point in time. Then the 2 sort of like more longer books that I bought in London when I was there, and that will have a little bit more of an impact, I guess, on my TBR, is Disobedience by Elizabeth Fremantle. This is a book about Artemisia Gentileschi. I read that was totally wrong pronunciation, by the way. I read a fantasy book about Artemisia probably a year ago or so already at this point in time, and I really enjoyed it, and I found her to be a really interesting figure that I wouldn't mind finding out more about, and so I wanted to read another book that features this artist. And then the final one on this level is Your Blood, My Bones by Kelly Andrew. I read The Whispering Dark by Kelly Andrew and really enjoyed it. So I don't actually know anything about this story, or I may have read it when I bought it, but basically the fact that I really enjoyed that Kelly Andrew book, in spite of not expecting to, was enough reason for me to be like, okay, let me pick it up. Alright, top shelf has the bigger sort of like books on it, and I'm like trying to figure out how to easily get them out of there. Alright, so a few of these are, like 2 of them are still Illumicrate books. One of them is Fathom Folk by Eliza Chan. This is a fantasy that is Asian inspired and it has a sort of like watery setting. Watery, is that a word? Then let me get the other Illumicrate, which of course is in the bottom one. This was the December one. This is The Principle of Moments by Esme Jikemi Pearson. This is a queer sci-fi. All I know about it, but coming up soon, I actually might be able to fit it into July, depending on whether I can make it work for prompts. Then we have one of, like the next 3 are actually all 5-star predictions. So I want to be getting around to them. 2 of them I definitely want to be reading in July, regardless of whether I fit them into Game Night-a-thon, but I better be because all of these are massive. But this is the one that probably is too much of a reach to also add it to July, and that is The Will of the Many by James Islington. This is the start of a new series. The second one is actually also coming out this year, I think already. And this is a Roman-inspired trilogy. I know more about it, but in this video we're keeping things short. So many people have been praising that one, and I'm hoping that I'm gonna love it. The other one is Blood Over Bright Haven by M.L. Wang. This is another epic fantasy. M.L. Wang is the author of The Sword of Kaigan, which I absolutely adored. I am hoping for the same with Blood Over Bright Haven, which I'm definitely going to be reading this month. And then the final one is a conclusion to a trilogy, and that is The Labyrinth's Heart by M.A. Carrick, which is also the conclusion to a trilogy. Or did I just say that about this book? Yes, I did, so never mind. This is a author duo comprised of Mary Brannan and Alice Helms. And yeah, I really enjoyed the series so far. Both books in the series have been 5-star reads. Maybe not in the first one, I'm not entirely sure, but I gave it 5-star in in the moment in which I read it. The second one definitely was a 5-star experience. I love these characters at this point in time. I will be heartbroken if anything happens to them, but it is also epic fantasy, so what are the chances that all of my babies are going to get out of this without any issues, right? This is a gender normative setting as well, no, a queer normative setting as well, and this has, you know, the best characters, the best people, the best. So yeah, that is the final book on the TBR at this point in time. So 15 books. I am hoping to reduce there are, like, let's say, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of these are definitely disappearing from the TBR in the month of July, but I am hoping to put more of them on there, but those are just like the priorities for the month of July, and then depending on what type of prompts come up for my readathon, I might be able to fit more into the month, and so let's hope that that is the case, because I kind of secretly would very much like to go into September, for example, without anything on it. So we'll see if we manage to do that. But okay, that is the currently TBR. Let me know your thoughts on it, whether there's anything here that has caught your attention, or whether you own any of these, and if there's 1 or 2 or 3 that you want me to prioritize off of this card. As there are so little at this point in time, it definitely isn't like I shouldn't be like keeping these books around forever. The oldest one at this point in time is Blood Over Brighthaven, which I got in August last year, so we are a little bit ahead of time at this point in time, and I think all of the August books are going to be read this month, and then the next one is like October in terms of the age. So yeah, we are definitely like no longer struggling when it comes to like keeping up to the timeline of my 1-year deadline. But so yeah, with that I'm gonna end this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and see you guys for the next one. Bye!